And this is Gavel to Gavel, WCBW-TV's complete coverage of Richmond City Council. Good evening once again. I'm Dick Harmon. Welcome to our first meeting of the month of February. Things look a little different tonight. Well, they are. We had the computer gremlins got loose somewhere here at City Hall, so we are running tonight kind of like the old days. So you'll be seeing just all the work from one camera, and we're going to bring you the Richmond City Council meeting. So we will be here. It just will be a little bit back to where we were when we first started doing this thing some years back. But anyhow, what's in store for tonight? 19 items on consent, 2 items on the regular, and let's run down those right now. Because once again, we don't have the graphics, so we'll go through them here as best we can. Item number 1, Ordinance 2013-205, special use at 705-709 Libby Avenue for the purpose of a bank with a drive-up facility and accessory parking. This is Franklin Federal wants to build a one-story bank building down there at 705-709 Libby Avenue. So that's what that one's about. But that's being continued until September 14th. So that'll be 7 months in the future. So that one will not be heard tonight. Item 2, and this is special use of 510, 520 West Broad Street, 517, 519 West Marshall Street, and 304 North Henry Street. This is the Rite Aid pharmacy. That is going to be up right now. They'd like to be allowed to sell alcoholic beverages for off-premise consumption. Not on-premise, but just off-premise. That's the Rite Aid there at 510, 520 West Broad Street. That one stays on consent. Item 3, Ordinance 2014-194, special use of 2216 Keswick Avenue. This is for the purpose of a single-family attached dwelling unit and a takeout restaurant. All I can find out from this right now is the restaurant, Hillside Fried Chicken and Fish. But this paper has been continued for, 30 days. Actually, it'll be 28 days because we only have 28 days in February. But we'll hear that paper on the 9th of March. Item number 4, Ordinance 2014-205. That's authorizing the Chief Administrative Officer to lease city-owned real estate for periods of less than 1 year without a determination by the City Council that such real estate is not devoted to and not immediately needed for public use. That one's going to be amended, and they'll continue that one for 2 weeks till our next meeting on February 23rd. Item 5, Ordinance 2014-221, special use at 1600 Monument Avenue for the purpose of authorizing outdoor dining. And this is the My Noodle and Bar restaurant, and that's been continued until the 9th of March. Okay, let's keep moving here. Item number 6 and item number 7 are both kind of like companion papers. Item 6, Ordinance 2014-258. This authorizes the CAO to accept $50,000 from the Virginia Department of Juvenile Justice and to provide detention, reentry, placement, and services to juvenile offenders committed to the Virginia Department of Justice, Juvenile Justice. And item number 7, Ordinance 2014-259, basically executes a memorandum of agreement between the city and the Virginia Department of Juvenile Justice for the purpose of providing detention, reentry, placement, and services to juvenile offenders. Those both stay on consent. Item 8, Ordinance 2014-265, special use 3410 Cliff Avenue for the purpose of authorizing a day nursery for up to 12 children. That's the Divinity Daycare. That stays on consent. Item 9, Ordinance 2015-1. This designates certain blocks in the city with the name of a city resident whom the council has determined to have extraordinary contributions to the African American history in the city, and that stays on the consent agenda. As does item 10, Ordinance 2015-3, authorizing the CAO to execute a standard project administration agreement between the city and VDOT to provide funding for the Franklin Street and Main Street Cycle Track project. Item 11, Ordinance 2015-5, that's permitting the development of a residential community of up to 300 dwellings at 1501 North 31st and 1611 North 31st. This is the old Armstrong High School site. That stays on consent. Item 12, Ordinance 2015-6, authorizing accepting funds in the amount of $240,000 from VDOT and transferring $60,000 in matching funds. This is for the Franklin Street and Main Street Cycle Track Project, staying on consent. Item 13, Resolution 2013-R254, supporting the administration's efforts to settle certain claims asserted by owners of real property abutting Princeton Creek. That's been continued till our next meeting, February 23rd. Okay, item 14. This is Resolution 2014-R149. This is imposing enhanced speeding penalties on Chapel Drive between McGuire Drive and Hopkins Road. And item 15, Resolution 2014-R150, enhanced speeding penalties on McGuire Drive between Broad Rock and Hopkins Roads. Both those are being continued till March 9th. Item 16, here's one people are wondering about. Resolution 2014-R181. This is to request the mayor seek regional participation in the city's efforts to develop a minor league baseball stadium. Now, this is going to be amended tonight and voted on. And the big changes, the surrounding area is mentioned by name. They are naming Henrico, Chesterfield, and Hanover counties, and then is going to develop a minor league baseball stadium in the Richmond region. Not just the city, but now it's in the region, in the Richmond region, which be Henrico, Chesterfield, and Hanover. So that's the big changes on that paper. This does not say we're going to build one. This does not say anything's going to happen, just that they are asking to support the mayor in his efforts to seek regional participation to build a ballpark in the Richmond region, not necessarily in the city, not here, not there. That doesn't say anything like that. They just want the mayor to try and see if we can get cooperation from the surrounding communities. Now, that'll be amended and then voted on tonight. Item 17, Resolution 2014-R184, requesting cause to be issued a request for proposals for the purpose of selecting a development company for the Boulevard site. That's continued for 2 weeks. Items 18 and 19 are basically approving expenditures for the 5th District. One's for $16.32, one's for $49.83. Those stay on consent. We get to the regular agenda, only 2 items. Ordinance 2014-199. This is concerning cruelty to animals and prohibiting the use of certain instruments in the training and controlling of elephants. That one's been continued for 2 weeks. And then item 21, Ordinance 2014-254. And this is authorizing the CAO to execute a stone brewery cooperation agreement between the city and the Economic Development Authority. And the purpose of this is to facilitate the construction of authority facilities that will house the operations of stone brewing. This is going to be amended again tonight and then continued for 2 weeks. So where do we stand right now? Okay, we started out with 19 items on consent. Well, 7 are being continued. One's being amended and continued, so we're down to 11. On the regular agenda, we had 2 items, one being continued, one being amended and continued, so we have none. So we're down to no items on regular. So just 11 items tonight, all on consent. Speakers tonight, we have 6 of them signed up. The topics tonight, let's see, hazardous housing conditions, request for a historic marker in front of Maggie L. Walker's home, the Read Across America program, alleged harassment by several Richmond police officers, Stone Brewery, and Monroe Park fence installation near James River Homeless Shelter. Those are what they're scheduled to talk about during the citizens' comment period. And only one item on the awards and presentations, and that is to Richmond Teen Dating Violence Awareness and Prevention Month. And that will be an award presented by the President of the Council and the Mayor, and to be received by Ms. Ryan Morris, Community Outreach Specialist at the YWCA of Richmond. So it looks like a light agenda. Will it be a light meeting? We don't know. Those things we just never know until we get started. We'll be getting started in just a few minutes. I'm Dick Harmon. Stay tuned.
Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting will now come to order. At this time, we will have the invocation given by Reverend Wallace Adams Riley of St. Paul's Episcopal Church.
Let us pray. Thank you. Let us pray. Dear God, we give you thanks for the city of Richmond and for our elected leaders, especially these, the members of our city council. May each Richmonder, we pray, those here in this chamber and residents across our great city, may we all remember each day that you have given us into one another's care, that we are our brother's keeper, our sister's keeper, that indeed as members of this community and as children of one Father, we are always to work for the common good. We are always to look out for one another, especially the least among us. May your will be done, dear God, each day and this day by these your servants. In the name of God we pray. Amen.
We could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You have a good evening.
Madam Clerk, please provide the chamber emergency evacuation announcement, followed by the citizen speaker's guidelines.
Upon activation of the emergency alarm signal, all persons should immediately exit the building. Please use the exits to the left or right front of the council chamber or the east or west stairwells outside the rear doors of the chamber. Do not use elevators or escalators. After exiting the building, proceed to the assembly area located in the parking lot bordered by Clay 8th and 9th Streets. Citizens and employees should assist visually and hearing impaired visitors with exiting the building. Citizens wishing to speak during public hearings and or the citizen comment period have generally 3 minutes to speak. Persons appearing before council are not allowed to campaign for public office, promote private business ventures, use language of a personal nature which insults or demeans any person, including comments directed at public officials or staff members that are not related to their official duties, or address or question staff members directly. All questions are to be directed to the president of council. Failure to adhere to the guidelines may result in speakers forfeiting any remaining time and further disciplinary action as necessary, which could include barring from attendance at future meetings of the City Council for a period of 6 months.
Madam President, for the record, all members of council are in attendance this evening. And if the individual standing in the rear of the chamber, if you would please be seated where seats are available. This is pursuant to Council's Rules of Procedure, page 21. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move on to appointments and reappointments.
Okay, council members, each of you have been provided a listing of appointments and reappointments from your standing committees. Is there a motion to accept the appointments as presented?
So moved, Madam Clerk.
Is there a second?
Second.
Council is now voting on the appointments and reappointments as presented in the packet provided to you. Mr. Bilals?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Mr. Samuels?
Aye.
Mr. Agelesto?
Aye.
Ms. Robertson?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbill?
Aye.
Vice President Hilbert?
Aye.
President Mosby?
Aye.
That motion has passed.
Madam Clerk, let's move on to awards and presentations, please.
Tonight's recognition being presented by Council President Michelle Mosby and Dr. Cheryl Ivy Green, Executive Assistant to Mayor Dwight C. Jones, proclaims February 2015 as Richmond Teen Dating Violence Awareness and Prevention Month. Dating violence occurs between persons in a close relationship and can take the form of physical, psychological, emotional, and or sexual abuse. Dating violence is a widespread problem that has significant long-term and short-term consequences, and when experienced in the teen and preteen years can seriously affect the mental and physical health and happiness of individuals throughout their life. In 2014, the Greater Richmond Regional Hotline, a local collaborative crisis response system for survivors and allies impacted by domestic intimate partner, and or sexual violence received 62 calls regarding teen dating violence. It is estimated that only a third of teens or preteens who were in a violent relationship ever told anyone about the abuse, and therefore most go unreported. As an effort to increase awareness and prevent dating violence, a national teen dating violence awareness recognition was began in 2006 by the United States of America Congress. The Greater Richmond Regional Hotline is a partnership of the James House, Project Hope, Safe Harbor, Hanover Safe Place, and the YWCA of Richmond, and these entities are highly commended for their ongoing collaboration and work on behalf of our community. In order to help prevent teen dating violence and support individuals victimized by it, Richmond City Council and Mayor Dwight C. Jones hereby proclaimed the month of February 2015 as Richmond Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, thank victim service providers, and encourage all Richmond residents to do all they can to bring awareness to and prevent dating violence.
Thank you. I'd like to first thank the W.Y.C.A. for bringing awareness to the city of Richmond. I think Council, we're just excited that people are bringing these things to our attention. Awareness and prevention is critically important. It is estimated that 1 in 3 12 to 19-year-olds in the United States are a victim of physical, sexual, emotional, or verbal abuse from a dating partner. Dating violence begins very, very early, and these are our children. We are talking about it. We need to make sure we're talking with our children about this very, very important issue. There is a statement that says, if you see something, say something. If you think something, say something. And if you know something, say something. It is our job to make sure that our children are clear that there is a hotline, that there is somebody out there to help them. There is a number, a TV for everyone. If you need some assistance at 804-612-6126, YWCA City Council and Richmond City thanks you.
Thank you, President Mosby. I'm delighted tonight to be here on behalf of Mayor Jones and to join City Council in recognizing February as Richmond Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. I've had the pleasure of working with the YWCA through the years with battered women's issues, but it's nice tonight to be a part of extending this to our teen population. Dating violence can occur anywhere, anytime. But there are two things that are common in abusive relationships, and that is a person is desiring power or even control. A recent survey said that 1 in 10 teens reported physical abuse when dating in a 12-month period. But as our teens try to navigate school and work and jobs and peer pressure, one of the things they're beginning to do is to form their own opinions about relationships. And so during their teen and preteen years, they are learning about relationships, how to handle relationships, and how to promote healthy relationships. And so parents need to recognize signs of unhealthy relationships. And this month is about prevention and bringing that awareness about not only to parents, but even to the community. Unhealthy relationships begin very quickly, but they can even last a lifetime. And so we support the work that you're doing, and we want to thank you for the work that you're doing to protect our teens.
On behalf of the YWCA of Richmond, thank you, City Council members, for your attention to this important issue facing Richmond's teenagers. In the United States, 1 in 3 adolescents is a survivor of physical, sexual, emotional, or verbal abuse from a dating partner, and only 33% of those will ever tell anyone about the abuse. Violent behavior typically begins between the ages of 12 and 18, and intimate partner violence is often more severe in adulthood when the abuse begins at this age. Additionally, 81% of parents say they don't believe dating violence is an issue or don't know if it is. We thank you for starting the conversation amongst adults and teenagers about teen dating violence in the community. The YWCA of Richmond and the Greater Richmond Regional Collaborative are working with the community, survivors, and government officials to bring awareness to teen dating violence and promote healthy relationships. The YWCA of Richmond provides free educational programming to students and adults on how to prevent teen dating violence and help someone who has survived the experience. Prevention programming and support services are possible through partnerships and awareness at the individual, community, and organizational level. Throughout the month, we encourage you to join in on the Why Wait campaign on social media to share why you won't wait to stop teen dating violence in Richmond. On behalf of the YWCA of Richmond and the community, thank you for your support of survivors and preventative efforts against teen dating violence. Thank you. Thank you.
Madam President, that concludes the awards and presentations for this evening.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, I would like to take the time to have a presentation of the sign rendering for the Manchester Courthouse presented, please.
Good evening, Madam President, ladies and gentlemen. At the last regular City Council meeting, you approved a measure to rename the Manchester Courthouse after former Senator Henry Marsh and his brother, former Judge, the late Harold Marsh. And you had asked at the time for a concept of what the sign might look like, and that's what I'd like to present to you tonight. Currently, there is not a sign. Before your vote last week, this building was called simply the Manchester Courthouse, but there's no sign outside designating that. You can't really see it here, but above the columns here, the words General District Court are etched into that piece there above the columns. This rendering of the sign you can see on the street level between the two people is a concept done by Mosley Architects, which is the same firm that designed the renovation and the new addition to the courthouse that opened in 2009. We chose to go with them to ask them to do it because they understand what the building looks like best. And so they've designed the sign to complement the existing building. It would be proposing that it would be constructed of the same brick and other materials as the rest of the building and made to look as though the sign had always been there. The lettering the architects have proposed will be 5 inches high, 5 inches tall metal letters painted black to match the other railings and the other metals on site. You can see the sign, they propose to have a gentle arch that matches the shape of the louvers there at the bottom. And this sign, the preliminary estimate is that this would cost roughly $5,000 to do. We just got the renderings back late last week, and you are the first to see this. So the next step would be to meet with the judges at the court and review it with them.
Comments from council?
Madam President.
Vice President Hilbert?
Thank you. Are we seeing the Hull Street elevation, or is this from the parking lot?
This is from the parking lot. That's
okay.
Right.
All right.
The new section of the building. The older section on Hull Street is kind of to the right of that, and it's much smaller.
Okay, and that's but you wouldn't be able to see the sign from Hull Street.
No, this one you would only be able to see from the front of the new main entrance on the parking lot side. Yes, sir.
However, this is the main entrance.
That's right. That's right.
To the courthouse. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Madam President.
Comments? Ms. Robertson.
Thank you for the presentation. I may have missed in your comments as it relates to the materials that are being used as a part of the sign.
Mm-hmm. It would be the same materials that are used in the main part of the building there. So it would be brick with precast concrete. I'm not an engineer. I'm just repeating what the engineers tell me. But the point would be to have the sign look like it had always been part of the building.
And the dimensions of the sign?
So the letters are 5 inches tall, and you can tell from the people there that the sign is it's 10 feet wide and about 5 feet tall at the arch, and the straight across part where the lettering is roughly 3 feet tall.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other comments? Thank you, Mr. Neely.
Right. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, let's move on to citizen comment period.
First speaker is Gwendolyn Cahill.
Good evening. My name, as you mentioned, is Gwendolyn Cahill, and I live in Somerset Glen Apartments, which is located on West Over Hills Boulevard. I moved here from Irvington, New Jersey. I'm originally from Mount Vernon, New York. I moved here on September 29th. The lease was effective the 19th. I have an unruly neighbor who I feel very threatened by. Other people in the complex, maybe they are afraid to come forward, have also said they have heard unusual noises coming from the apartment. There's thumps, there's jumps. It's every night. My sleep is no longer a nighttime sleep. I sleep in the day. I am retired. I am only 57 years old. And I have addressed the issue with the complex management. And really, you can't tolerate the situation. It has to change, and I am fearful. It's rocks, boulders, anything that can be thrown on top of the floor is being thrown, and it's repeatedly. It's escalating, and there's a child who is crying. I used to be a CPS worker. I don't know what's going on, but I am a fearful person of what is going on. So I'm standing before you tonight to ask that there be some kind of address to the complex regarding what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cahill.
And I am a humanitarian. I'm not doing this just for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there Ms. Jefferson? Is she here? Lila Jefferson? Ms. Cahill? If you could, she's going to raise her hand. If you can go over to the lady there, Ms. Jefferson, she can help you. Speaker, please.
The next speaker is Melvin Jones.
Good afternoon, members of council. My name is Melvin Jones, and I'm from the 3rd District. Tonight, I come before you to ask you for your support, for your support on a resolution that was done back in March of 23rd of 2009. It was Resolution 2009-R45-6, and it reads, to express the city's encouragement to support for the improvement of a citizen stamp advisory committee to issue by the United States Postal Service of a commemorative stamp as part of the United States Postal Service commemorative stamp program honoring Maggie L. Walker, her historic achievements in becoming the first woman and first African-American woman to establish a bank in the United States of America, and her accomplishments through the Independent Order of St. Luke's and citizen organizations. This was done back in 2009. And I guess what I'm asking City Council to do another letter in support of this. I'm getting treatment for my back up in Baltimore at Johns Hopkins, best hospital in the nation. And, I hear a lot of stuff about Richmond while I'm up in Washington and Baltimore, good things. And, I haven't had a chance to talk to the advisory board, but I would like to get another support or another letter from City Council, this body of City Council, supporting the stamp of Maggie L. Walker, because good things are happening in Richmond, and I would like to see something happen during Black History Month, please, if you could. All 9 City Council members, please. And we're going forward with our statute, too, for Maggie Walker. There's much more to come. So thank you, City Council, for tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
The next speaker is Lola Van McDowell.
Set my hat here. My name is Lola Van McDowell. I'm a retired Richmond Public Schools teacher of 47 years. And this evening, I want to say Happy New Year, because I haven't seen any of you, and good evening. I'm here to invite you to Woodville's annual Richmond Public Schools Read Across America. Although I'm retired, I still love coordinating the Read Across America and wearing my cat in a hat outfit. On other places you will take our children when you come to read to them, because you know many of you have been there and you see how enjoyable it is for them. I'm excited because the event will be on March the 6th between 9 and 2 p.m. We understand that you're very busy people, and we hope that you will be able to take part in this event. The children in Woodville is located in one of the highest crime areas in the nation. Some of our students live in destitute conditions, and some are even homeless. Education is not a top priority for many of our families, but the teachers strive to give these students the very, very best educational experiences. This is the nation's biggest celebration in reading. We are always inviting community partners, and we will continue to do that. Parents, volunteers, the school board members, legislators, local and national TV and radio personalities, the mayor, the governor, the lieutenant governor, and the governor's cabinet, and even the president and First Lady Obama. Although they could not come last year, we received letters from President Clinton and Governor Wilder. We also received a proclamation from President Obama. Governor McAuliffe and his cabinet visited our school last year and read to the children. I have an invitation for each of you to attend on March the 6th. Please join us on this sensational day and read to the children. They will really appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Put these right here.
Thank you, Ms. McDowell.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Leonard McMillian.
Good evening. My name is Leonard McMillan. On October the 28th, I heard a banging at my window. I heard a banging at my door. I went to my living room window, and I asked who was it, and they identified themselves as the Richmond police. I asked what's up. They said they were responding to a domestic dispute. I said, there's nothing going on here. We're in the bed. So I said, give me a minute. Let me put some clothes on. I then returned to the door. I opened the door. The officer talking asked, could he see my wife and if she was okay? I said, hold on a minute. I'll get her. At that point, I turned to go get my wife. He tried to come in the house. I said, hold on. I don't want you in my house. I will go get her. He then pushed me out the way. 2 more officers came in, pushed me back to my living room sofa, pointed at the sofa and said, sit. I said, is there some law that say you can force yourself in my house and tell me to sit? He told me to sit or I would be arrested for impeding the investigation. I said, what I want is for all of you to get out of my house. At that point, he said, turn around, put your hands behind your back. I'm placing you on arrest for impeding the investigation. I said, you must be crazy. And I meant that, too, because that's the manner that he was acting. At that point, the 2 officers jumped me. One pulled my arm up behind my back, hurt my shoulder. I hollered out. I said, man, you hurt my shoulder. They then asked, do you want medical or treatment? I said, yes. I did not know they called the rescue squad. A few minutes later, the rescue squad showed up. I didn't know who they were when they came in. They asked, did I want treatment? I said, no, I want you and them out of my house. So they left. This has been going on 15 minutes. They're searching the first floor of my house. My wife is still upstairs asleep. So after the rescue squad left, they went upstairs, and that's when my wife woke, banging on the wall. That's when she woke up. She came down and asked, why are you in my house, and why is my husband handcuffed? And one of the things, after they handcuffed me, I said, I asked for a supervisor. The officer said, I am the supervisor. I said, I want to call an attorney. He said, the only thing you would get is tased if you don't shut up and be still. So at that point, shortly after that, my wife came down and they asked, did she call? She said no. They took the handcuffs off me.
You have 30 seconds. Please begin to summarize.
So I went downtown to press charges. I came back. While I was downtown, my wife called and said they're back again. She said this time it had escalated to a kidnapping and hostage situation. And if she didn't let them in, they would call SWAT. She said it didn't go well the first time you came in. Call whoever you want, but if you don't have a search warrant, you're not coming back in our house. When I pulled up, 4 officers jumped out, ran up, handcuffed me again. This time, they told me the same thing they told her about threatening to call SWAT. They kept me handcuffed outside of my house to 7:30 the next morning. Another time I was stopped, surrounded by guns. They put the guns to my head. One put a gun to my head, and then said my vehicle matched the description of one that had been shooting at somebody. They drove off. When they found out they made a mistake, they drove off like they had done nothing. Another time I was stopped, handcuffed, and detained for stealing my own trailer. Drove off again, no apology. I was walking my dog. They stopped me, said I fit the description of somebody who beaten his wife. I've been stopped, said my tail light out on my car. Nothing wrong, won't let me get out to sea. It's other things too. I know my time up, but this is what I've been going through since I've been in Richmond.
Okay. Mr. McMillan, if you would go over and give Ms. Leila Jefferson the occurrences, and I know you probably don't want to have to go through them again, but if you can go to Ms. Jefferson, she's going to raise her hand back.
I did this 3 months ago.
You gave it to Ms. Jefferson?
I've been here 3 months ago. I've been to Internal Affairs. I've been here, and I have not received any response until an hour before I was supposed to come here today.
Okay. I have your information here. I will contact you.
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome.
The next speaker is Silver Persinger.
That's a hell of a way to treat somebody just because they're black. My name is Silver Persinger. I'm a citizen of Richmond, Virginia. I want to warn you all and the citizens of Richmond that the Stone Brewery deal isn't as great of a deal as it's being painted. It's a land giveaway to the brewery, and that hasn't been discussed very much. There was one article on December 18th in the Times-Dispatch announced the lease agreement that they would have the option to buy the property, 21 acres, for $25,000. 21 acres for $25,000. It's good to remember that this scheme was cooked up by the EDA. The members of the EDA include Julius P. Smith, Jr., a partner and former CEO of Williams-Mullins. You just reappointed him here tonight without any public discussion of that matter. It's really disgusting to me how you can appoint these power brokers that make important decisions in the city, and you all in October 27th of last year made it so they no longer were appointed by resolution. Therefore, the public no longer knows the secret rulers of this city. And that's what this is. Williams-Mullins, that's Mr. Smith. We have a representative from Williams-Mullins on Venture Richmond as well. Another member of the EDA is Ann Griever from Hunton & Williams. Hunton & Williams is also represented on the board of Venture Richmond. This is the secret government that is pulling the strings here and giving away valuable riverfront property to a multi-million-dollar brewing organization from California, and it is being disguised as a lease, but really you are renting to own to them, and it's not a good deal for the residents of the city. Sure, we're getting close to 300 jobs. 200 of them are low-wage, waiting jobs as servers and waiters, stuff like that. Other members of the EDA, Rich Johnson, President and CEO of Wilton Companies, a real estate and property management company. We also have someone from Wilton Companies who serves as the chair of the Planning Commission for the city. This is the secret government of the city that pulls the strings here. Another member of the EDA is John Molster, Managing Director of B&T Scott and Stringfellow. Meta Lane, owner of Lane and Associates, a local CPA.
30 seconds. Please begin to summarize.
Agarwal, bankruptcy lawyer and real estate agent. I'm opposed to this because this was sold to you all. I don't know when you learned the property was going to be sold, but it was sold to the public that this was a long-term lease, not a land giveaway to the brewery. We're going to be building a $23 million facility, and they aren't even paying a fair lease amount for it. I did a brief search for how much industrial space costs. It normally costs $5 to $10 per square foot. You will be renting it to them at less than $1.50 per square foot, a brand new 220 square foot facility. This is, I haven't even gotten to discuss all that I know about this deal, but you all know more than I do. I just know the tip of the iceberg, and this is not fair to us or the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Persinger.
The next speaker is Carlton Webb.
Good evening, council members and council president. My name is Carlton Webb. I'm a member of a homeless advocacy group called Aswan. I'm coming to reaffirm a discussion that one of our members had here at one of your city council members concerning 3 different issues. The first issue I wanted to make comment on is the Monroe Park renovation. Now, I understand that is supposed to take place this summer, where they're going to completely fence off the park. Now, as we all know, that's been a meeting place for all types of people in the city for as long as it's been there. And for the last 20 or so years, it's been a place where different homeless advocacy groups and churches will go to feed homeless people here in Richmond. That's been a tradition as well, and that's something that it seems that fence would be attempting to eliminate. I understand there has been a lot of protests dealing with that. There were campouts back in, I think, 2011, and there have been other attempts to alter that deal. We would like the City Council to at least to look at alternatives to how they attempt to do it. We are not adverse to the renovation. We are adverse to them completely closing off the park and making it unusable to the homeless and other people who come there, okay, to meet with these church groups and other groups that attempt to help these people who are less able to help themselves. And I'm sure that the City Council is not adverse to that. Now, I know one of the possible alternatives is to close half the park while it's being renovated and allow the other half to be used while this is going on. I think that that's something that should be considered because we're not adverse to the renovations. But presently, the park has its restroom facilities closed, okay, on Saturdays. Okay, there is no drinking water for anyone in the park who comes to the park, and we're adverse to that. And we know that these most people who go there are homeless, okay, or are coming from far or distant parts of the city.
You have 30 seconds. Please begin to summarize.
Right. Well, in any case, I'm saying that we'd like you to do something about the public facilities in the park presently and an alternative. Also, I want to briefly speak on the $53,000 is going towards this fence that is supposed to be cutting off homeless people from going under a bridge over by the James River. That's $53,000 that could be spent in a lot of ways to help people, okay? And I would like you to look at those things, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Webb.
Madam President, that concludes our list of speakers for this evening.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, let's move on to review the amendments to tonight's agenda.
Amendments to tonight's agenda are as follows. Item 1, ordinance number 2013-205 will be continued to the Monday, September 14th council meeting. Item 3, ordinance number 2014-194 will be continued to the Monday, March 9th council meeting. Item 4, ordinance number 2014-205 will be amended and continued to the Monday, February 23rd council meeting later this evening. Item 5, ordinance number 2014-221 will be continued to the Monday, March 9th council meeting. Item 13, resolution number 2013-R254 will be continued to the Monday, February 23rd council meeting. Item 14, resolution number 2014-R149, and item 15, resolution number 2014-R150 will be continued to the Monday, March 9th council meeting. Item 16, resolution number 2014-R181 will be amended and voted on later this evening. Item 17, resolution number 2014-R184 will be continued to the Monday, February 23rd council meeting. Item 20, ordinance number 2014-199 will be continued to the Monday, February 23rd council meeting. Item 21, ordinance number 2014-254 will be amended and continued to the Monday, February 23rd council meeting later this evening. Madam President, those are all of tonight's agenda amendments.
Thank you. Does any member of council have additional amendments to tonight's agenda? Madam Clerk, please call to question.
I will need a motion to accept the amended agenda as presented. Councilmember Robertson, will you make that motion?
So moved, Madam Clerk.
Is there a second?
Second.
Council is voting on tonight's agenda amendments as presented. Mr. Bilals?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Mr. Samuels?
Aye.
Mr. Agelasto?
Aye.
Ms. Robertson?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbill?
Aye.
Vice President Hilbert?
Aye.
President Mosby?
Aye.
The amended agenda is before you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please provide a review of items on tonight's consent agenda.
Madam President, the consent agenda items for tonight are as follows. Item 2, ordinance number 2014-191, to amend the ordinance which authorizes special use of 510 to 520 West Broad Street, 517 to 519 West Marshall Street, and 304 North Henry Street to permit the sale of alcoholic beverages for off-premises consumption at the existing retail drugstore. Item 6, ordinance number 2014-258, to accept $50,000 from the Virginia Department of Juvenile Justice and to appropriate the amount to the Department of Justice Services for providing detention reentry placement and services to juvenile offenders committed to the Virginia Department of Juvenile Justice. Item 7, ordinance number 2014-259, to execute a memorandum of agreement between the City and the Virginia Department of Juvenile Justice for providing detention reentry placement and services to juvenile offenders committed to the Virginia Department of Juvenile Justice. Item 8, ordinance number 2014-265, to authorize the special use of 3410 Cliff Avenue for the purpose of authorizing a day nursery for up to 12 children. Item 9, ordinance number 2015-1, to designate certain street blocks in the city with the name of a city resident having made extraordinary contributions to African American history in the city. Item 10, ordinance number 2015-3, to execute a standard project administration agreement between the city and VDOT to provide funding for the Franklin Street and Main Street cycle track project. Item 11, ordinance number 2015-5, to authorize a preliminary community unit plan permitting the development of a residential community of up to 300 dwelling units at 1501 and 1611 North 31st Street. Item 12, ordinance number 2015-6, to accept $240,000 from VDOT to transfer $60,000 in matching funds from the fiscal year 2015 capital budget, bike sharrows, lane projects, to amend the fiscal year 2015 capital budget by establishing a new project called the Franklin Street and Main Street cycle track project, and to appropriate the total amount to the project for the purpose of designing and constructing cycle tracks on Franklin and Main Streets. Item 18, resolution number 2015-R6, to approve $16.32 from the council district funds to pay the Department of Information Technology for the mailing of letters to 5th District residents. Item 19, resolution number 2015-R7, to approve $49.83 from the council district funds to pay the Department of Information Technology for the printing of posters for the 5th District holiday party. Those are all of the items on tonight's consent agenda.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We will now have a public hearing on the consent agenda. Are there persons who wish to speak in opposition of any items on the consent agenda?
I'm a man. I'm one of the people, not a person. You can call me Mr. Dorsey, but you'd be out of order if you did, but that wouldn't be anything new. I'm going to speak in opposition to everything on this consent agenda, but especially 2014-R181. I'm just going to read this because, a lot of the problem I have with everything on this agenda it's written in legalese, and it doesn't really mean what it says anyways. And I'm going to point out how this is evidenced in resolution number 2014-R181 to request that the mayor seek regional participation in the city's effort to develop a minor league baseball stadium in the city of Richmond. You see, this is a distraction, and Mr. Persinger already mentioned the fact that there's a giveaway to a booze company that has a logo of the devil, and it's just basically a giveaway of riverfront property and taxpayer money for their infrastructure so they can make more millions and millions.
Mr. Dorsey.
But the thing with that is we already have a baseball stadium in the city of Richmond for a minor league baseball team. So why would...
Mr. Dorsey, we're not discussing this paper tonight. This paper is to be amended.
Okay, well, I'm discussing
so, well, Mr. Dorsey, we're asking for people to speak in opposition of what's on the consent agenda.
Right.
This is not on the consent agenda.
I oppose everything on the consent agenda, and I really don't appreciate having my microphone cut.
I understand.
I remember Ms. Graciano did it for simply naming members of the Economic Development Authority several years ago, and then
Mr. Dorsey, we're going to speak to the consent agenda, or we won't speak.
Well,
that's where we are.
You can't stop me from speaking or not speaking. You can be out of order, which you are.
Thank you, Mr. Dorsey.
Have you ever read Robert's Rules of Order? No, I didn't think so. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Allen.
Next speaker, please.
My name is Reginald Reeves, and I live in the 7th District. And I'm here to speak on involved with the plans to convert Armstrong Playground and Armstrong 31st Street High School into a housing complex of 250 to 300 units, and which I think is supposedly necessary for the conversion of Creighton Court into 1,500 units, which is currently 500 units. I work for the State Highway Department for 39 years in design, and there's four things we couldn't touch: cemeteries, schools, churches, and parks, playgrounds. And I can't understand how on earth you can convert a playground to a housing complex. When Mayor Jones spoke at the Robson Theater, I think it was 2010, he said he had the money to remodel the entire Creighton Court. But after having to meet with the Churchill Civic Association, the head of, Albemarle Corporation, the Gottwalls, he did a 180-degree turn. Armstrong High School is now currently in Henrico County, and there has been no maintenance on that building done since I know the mayor's been in office, probably just no routine maintenance, especially on the outer fields and that sort of thing. So it sounds as if you cannot go into the county and construct or do the new construction, or you want to do the construction, because you used to pay $500,000 a year to maintain Kennedy in the county for about 30 years. That dropped to about $300,000 the last few years, and since Armstrong there, I'm guessing it's still $300,000. And Kennedy was there about 30 years, so it was somewhere in the vicinity of $20 million you spent to maintain that school. You probably back then could have built about 5 or 6 elementary schools. We need to move back into the city where we have land that we can build a high school. The gentleman behind me here with the, I guess he's with the planning commission, with the group that's leading this project. One of the members of the planning commission asked him, does he have anywhere in the East End where he could build a high school if one is necessary? He never did answer. We need to cut some of the politics with the schools. You're just finished jerking around about what to do with Benford because they only have 200 students. The same thing is at Franklin Military. They got about 200 students in a 600-student building.
Please begin to summarize.
Okay. They have about 600, in a 600-student building, they have about 200 students. Community High has about 200 students in a 700-student building. And somebody putting a specialty school in Benford. Let's go back to comprehensive high schools All these little country-sized high schools, 600 and 200 and 300 students, are very expensive and granite buildings. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir? Yes. Your concerns are valid. I just wanted you to know that it would be good if you would give your concerns to the school board as well.
Oh, I've done this since 1970s. Excuse me, if you don't mind, one more thing. When Mr. Samuels was in charge, I had a problem. I came down here with water runoff, and he directed me to someone in the back. I have not heard from that person or from the city at all.
Madam President, would you be willing to have that person come down now and meet with him? Or at least ask them to. I guess you can't order them to.
U.S.A, if you can get him to... Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Silver Persinger. I'm a citizen of Richmond, Virginia. I'm speaking in opposition to item number 9 to designate certain street blocks in the city with the names of a city resident whom the council has determined to have made extraordinary contributions to African American history in the city of Richmond. I'm not saying this because I don't like black people. I like black people. They seem actually nicer than most white people I know. You all have existing language in the city code that says that public facilities such as buildings, bridges, etc., shall not be named after living individuals until after 5 years after their death. I would like you all to practice what is existing law, to enforce the existing law. I have no problem recognizing these first African-American members of the city council. I think that's great. They are Henry Marsh, Willie Dell, Walter Kinney, Claudette McDaniel, and Chuck Richardson. However, I take particular exception to including Chuck Richardson in this street naming program because he is a convicted heroin dealer. He went to jail and served time for that. And I believe that you should be forgiven, but I also don't think that heroin dealers should be established by naming a city street after them. Heroin dealers are some of the most disgusting individuals on the planet. They have no problem making money off of seeing their friends destroy their lives and bodies, killing, rotting their arms. This is not acceptable. Chuck Richardson, he may have been one of the first elected black members of the council, but this is no reason to name a street after a heroin dealer. Thank you.
Sir, are you coming to speak in opposition to a paper?
Actually, it's in opposition in its present form. Item number 11, dealing with the authorizing the community units down on North 31st Street.
I'm sorry, could you please state your name for the record?
It's Carlton Webb. All right. I'm actually also speaking on this as a member of ASWAN, the community advocacy group, homeless advocacy group. We would like to speak with some representative from the city council. We haven't had the opportunity to completely review this. And we'd like to have some units placed there dealing with some form of rehousing for the homeless to be placed in that plan, or in some way some low, very low income, or the type of housing that can help people to get on their feet, because we seem to have a very large shortage of any form of housing for the homeless in this city for some reason, and we'd like to see that be remedied in every way that we can. And I think that this proposal could possibly do that, and we would love to meet with someone from the city council to discuss some plans for that.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anyone to speak in favor of any of these papers?
Good afternoon, members of the City Council. My name is Melvin Jones. I'm speaking on item number 8, ordinance number 2014-265. Daycare and Northside. I'm in favor of that paper. And also, I'd like for City Council to take pretty good time with this other one that other folks that came up here and talked about Armstrong High School. because that's a nerve right there. They wanted to try to close Maggie Walker down, but they turned into a governor school. So tread water lightly on this, please, because I don't want to see hell break loose down here on that. Please do what you can. Thank you.
Good evening, members of City Council. My name is Robert Hughes, and I am here to support item number 8, ordinance 2014-265. This is a special use permit for 3410 Cliff Avenue, Divinity Daycare. And before I go into that, I would ask all those in the chamber who are supporting this paper to please stand. And as you can see, it is a number not only of the applicant, her husband, her daughter, but a number of us that are parents that have had our children raised by Reverend Bruce and William Bruce. She has done this for years with no problem. Her neighbors support her. We support her. We ask that the members of council pass this ordinance and grant her her special use permit. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Rebecca Askew, and I'm also speaking in support of item number 8, ordinance number 2014-265. I also have had 2 children who've gone through Divinity Daycare. I live in Chesterfield. However, we drove all the way across the river because this particular daycare spoke to us as a family. The neighborhood is a very safe neighborhood, and we also encountered no problems, minimal disruption, witnessed no issue with dropping off and picking up in the neighborhood, which I know is always a concern anytime there is a business in a neighborhood or in a subdivision situation. So we would like to encourage you all to please consider approving the special use permit for this particular daycare, because they are providing a service during a time where daycares are scary. My children are older now, and I wouldn't want to deny any parent the same opportunity that I had to drop my children off in a safe space, knowing that when I pick them up, all would be well. So I implore all of you to please vote in favor of this particular item. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Askew.
Good evening. My name is Reverend Carla Olds, and I have 3 children that have attended Divinity Daycare, one of which is 2 years old, and he attends Divinity Daycare now. Divinity Daycare is not only a business, but it is a ministry. Reverend Bruce and Deacon Bruce provide things for us, provide a service for us that is needed in the community. They are efficient at what they do. The cost is reasonable, but the care is, what's the commercial say? Unthinkable or something? You just can't find a better daycare. And as Ms. Askew said, it's in a safe neighborhood. I'm able to drop my child off and pick my child up with no issues. I moved here from North Carolina, and Reverend Bruce is just a wonderful person. Deacon Bruce is a wonderful person. They're great people, so I think you should pass this ordinance just because of the people they are. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Olds.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Reverend A. Lincoln James, pastor of the Trinity Baptist Church at 3424, I'm giving you my home address, 2811 Findall Avenue in Richmond, Virginia for the last 35 years. I am speaking for the Divinity Daycare because I know both of the persons who are integrally involved in its operation. Number one, Reverend Bruce is a retired professor of English at Virginia Union University. She is a member of the Trinity Baptist Church for well over, I have been there 35 years. She was there when I came, so she must be a member for 40 or 50 years. She is an integral part of our ministry, even in regard to the youth of our church and the children of our church. Her husband is a deacon in our church. He is retired. And so I think that every child that has an opportunity to be mentored by, to be taken care of in this particular daycare would certainly be benefited, and I hope that you will be persuaded to let them continue. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pastor James. Bring it back to council for discussion.
Madam President, I just wanted to check on one thing. On the naming of the courthouse and the streets, these are honorary names, so they don't actually change maps or anything like that. I think that's important for folks to know that the names of the streets will remain. They're just getting an honorary title and associated with it, so it doesn't run afoul of any procedure or policy of naming something after someone who's currently alive. Courthouse is a different story. I'm not aware that we required the administration to pay the fee that's mandated in the code to produce this recommendation. And I know that we are, for lack of a better term, violating our rules about naming something, building after more than one person. But in this case, I think that both Senator Marsh and his brother made major significant social and historical contributions to our city. And I know that we're going to catch some grief for naming something after someone who's still alive, but and for not following our rules, but I think it's important to note the impact they've had in our city.
Thank you. Any others? Madam Clerk, please call the question.
Council is voting on tonight's consent agenda items as presented. Mr. Blouses?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Mr. Samuels?
Aye.
Mr. Agelasto?
Aye.
Ms. Robertson?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbill?
Aye.
Vice President Hilbert?
Aye.
President Mosby?
Aye.
Those papers have been adopted.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, are there no items on the regular agenda?
No, there are no items on the regular agenda, Madam President.
Okay. Are there papers to be amended and continued this evening?
Yes, we have 3 for consideration, starting with item number 4, ordinance number 2014-205 to amend the City Code, Section 26-2 for the purpose of authorizing the CAO to lease city-owned real estate for periods of less than 1 year without a determination by the City Council that such real estate is not devoted to and not immediately needed for public use. The proposed amendment to that paper is as follows. Page 1, line 19, after the word period of, strike the words 1 year or. After the word longer, insert the words then 90 calendar days. Page 2, line 2, after the word of, strike the phrase less than 1 year and insert the phrase no longer than 90 calendar days. Page 4, line 15, after the letter B, insert the text for each lease entered into pursuant to the provision of subsection A of this section for which the terms of such lease have not first been approved by an ordinance adopted by the council. The following conditions shall apply. 1, within 5 working days after the execution of the chief administrative officer of such a lease, the chief administrative officer shall cause a complete copy of such executed lease to be delivered to each member of the council, which delivery may be by electronic means. 2, no such lease shall be extended for a total of more than 30 additional calendar days until the council has adopted a resolution approving the extension, which resolution must contain the location of the leased premises, the name of the tenant, the original duration of the lease, the duration of the extensions, and the amount of rent. 3, once such a lease has terminated, the tenant shall not be deemed to hold over, and no lease for the same premises to the same tenant may have a term commencing less than 90 calendar days after such termination, unless the term of such lease have first been approved by the ordinance adopted by the council. 4, page 5, line 8, after the word officer, strike the phrase for a period of less than 1 year. Page 5, line 9, after the word section, insert the clause where the term of such lease have not been first approved by an ordinance adopted by the council. I will need a motion to accept the proposed amendment to that paper as read and to continue the paper to Monday, February 23rd. Councilman Agelasto, will you make that motion?
So moved.
Councilwoman Newbill, will you second that?
Second, Madam Clerk.
Council is voting on the motion, which has been properly seconded, to amend item number 4, ordinance number 2014-205, as presented, and to continue the paper to Monday, February 23rd. Mr. Blouses?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Mr. Samuels?
Aye.
Mr. Agelesto?
Aye.
Ms. Robertson?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbill?
Aye.
Vice President Hilbert?
Aye.
President Mosby?
Aye.
That motion has passed. That paper will be before you again on Monday, February 23rd. Next is item number 16, resolution number 2014-R181. That's to request that the mayor seek regional participation in the city's effort to develop a minor league baseball stadium in the city. The proposed amendment to that paper is as follows. Page 1, line 4, after the word participation, insert the phrase from Chesterfield County, Hanover County, and Henrico County. Page 1, line 5, after the word stadium, strike the word in. Page 1, line 6, at the beginning of the line, insert the phrase at a location within the Richmond region consisting of. After the word Richmond, insert a comma followed by the text Chesterfield County, Hanover County, and Henrico County. Page 2, line 23, after the word participation, insert the phrase from Chesterfield County, Hanover County, and Henrico County. Page 3, line 2, after the word stadium, strike the word in and insert the phrase at a location within the Richmond region consisting of. Page 3, line 3, after the word Richmond, insert a comma followed by the text Chesterfield County, Hanover County, and Henrico County. Page 3, line 6, after the word participation, insert the phrase from Chesterfield County, Henrico County, and Hanover County. Page 3, line 8, after the word stadium, strike the word in and insert the phrase at a location within the Richmond region consisting of. Page 3, line 9, after the word Richmond, insert a comma followed by the text Chesterfield County, Hanover County, and Henrico County. I will need a motion to accept the proposed amendment to that paper as read. Councilman Samuels, will you make that motion?
Yes, Madam Clerk, so moved.
Council is now voting on the proposed amendment to item number 16, resolution number 2014-R181. Mr. Beliles?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Mr. Samuels? Mr. Agelesto?
Aye.
Ms. Robertson?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbill?
Aye.
Vice President Hilbert?
Aye.
President Mosby?
Aye.
That paper is before you for consideration.
Is that that was the last paper?
No, that's that paper will need to have a public hearing since it is going to be amended and voted on tonight.
Okay. Let's move on to public hearing on the paper. Is there anyone to speak in opposition of the paper?
I'm not speaking in opposition. I was busy working on something else. But can you tell me what the title of the paper is?
Madam Clerk, can you help Ms. Persinger out?
Yes, it's resolution number 2014-R181, item number 16 on the agenda. And that's to request that the mayor seek regional participation in the city's effort to develop a minor league baseball stadium in the city of Richmond.
Oh, well, naturally, I'm opposed to that. My name's Silver Persinger. I'm a citizen of Richmond, Virginia. We already have a baseball stadium, thank you very much. I don't want to see public money spent on building another one. There's lots of useful life left in the existing stadium. It has easy highway access, and it wouldn't cost us millions of dollars to construct because it's already constructed and paid for. So, no new stadium, Richmond. Not here, not anywhere. Lots of academic research shows that economic development based on stadium development is a sham. It just puts the local government on the hook for lots of money, and the resulting economic revenue that comes is never materializes. So no stadium. No, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Persinger. Is there anyone to speak in favor? Bring it back to council for discussion. Madam Clerk, please call the question.
Council is voting on item number 16, resolution number 2014-R181 as amended. Mr. Beliles?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Mr. Samuels?
Aye.
Mr. Agelesto?
Aye.
Ms. Robertson?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbill?
Aye.
Vice President Hilbert?
Aye.
President Mosby?
Aye.
That paper has been adopted as amended.
I knew that about 15 minutes ago.
And next we have item number 21, ordinance number 2014-254. That's to amend ordinance 2014-237-210, which authorized the CAO to execute a cooperation agreement between the city and the Economic Development Authority to facilitate the construction of facilities that will house the operations of Stone Brewing Company for the purpose of adding certain restrictions for the use of revenues derived from the development. The proposed amendment to that paper is as follows. Page 1, line 20, at the beginning of the line, insert the word further. Page 2, line 2, after the deleted word further, insert the word further. I will need a motion to accept the proposed amendment to that paper as read and to continue it to Monday, February 23rd. Vice President Hilbert, will you make that motion?
So moved.
Ms. Robertson, will you second that?
Give me just
Sorry, I didn't hear you call my name.
Give me just
I'll
a moment.
second that motion.
Mr. Jackson, I'm just trying to make sure that we're not supposed to be pulling it off the table or doing anything else different. Are we?
It did get laid on the table at the last meeting. The first order of business should be to take it from the table.
Madam President?
Mr. Samuels?
I'd move to pick up the matter from the table.
Second.
Okay. Madam Clerk, I'm sorry. We have to move from the picking up on the table.
Okay. So we have a motion by Councilmember Samuels to remove item 21, ordinance number 2014-254, from being tabled. And is there a second?
Seconded.
Okay. Council is voting on the motion to remove item number 21, ordinance number 2014-254, from being tabled. Mr. Beliles?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Mr. Samuels?
Aye.
Mr. Agelesto?
Aye.
Ms. Robertson?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbill?
Aye.
Vice President Hilbert?
Aye.
President Mosby?
Aye.
That item has been removed from being tabled.
Now we can move to the amendment of.
Okay. Council is now voting on item number 21, ordinance number 2014-254, as amended, and to continue the item to Monday, February the 23rd, which has been motioned by Vice President Hilbert and seconded by Councilmember Robertson. Mr. Beliles?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Mr. Samuels?
Aye.
Mr. Agelesto?
Aye.
Ms. Robertson?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbill?
Aye.
Vice President Hilbert?
Aye.
President Mosby?
Aye.
That motion has passed. That paper will be before you again on Monday, February 23rd.
Ms. Newbill, you have a question?
Just wanted to be clear that the amendments were the sum total of the items that were being proposed, and I guess that's Mr. Jackson. Make sure I didn't miss anything.
Yes, ma'am. They're the ones that.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, are there papers for expedited consideration this evening?
Madam President, there are no papers for expedited consideration.
Okay, let's move on to the approval of the minutes.
The minutes to be approved are from Monday, January 26th, informal meeting at 4 p.m., and the formal meeting from Monday, January 26th at 6 p.m. I need a motion for the approved minutes. Ms. Newbill, will you make that motion?
So moved, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Beliles, will you second? You're now voting on the motion to approve the minutes as read. Mr. Beliles?
Aye.
Ms. Graziano?
Aye.
Mr. Samuels?
Aye.
Mr. Agelesto?
Aye.
Ms. Robertson?
Aye.
Ms. Trammell?
Aye.
Ms. Newbill?
Aye.
Vice President Hilbert?
Aye.
And President Mosby?
Aye.
Those minutes have been approved.
Thank you. Let's move on to reports and announcements, starting with Councilmember Agelesto.
Thank you, Council President.
Firstly, I'd like to thank all of the citizens that came out to our meeting last Wednesday evening at the Roundhouse in Bird Park. We had a very nice discussion, and it's wonderful to hear from different departments in the city, particularly Animal Care and Control, as to the progress that they have seen this year on the pet licensing. There will be some additional conversations that happen in our communities before the next City Council meeting, and several of them are quite essential conversations, and I invite all the public to come, primarily those who will be most impacted by the Civic Association meetings. On Tuesday, February the 10th, that is tomorrow evening, the Swansboro Civic Association is meeting at 6:30 p.m. at the St. Francis Home at 65 West Clopton Street in the Swansboro neighborhood. Folks are invited to attend that meeting. Also, the Carillon Civic Association board meeting will be taking place tomorrow evening, again, February the 10th at 7 p.m. at Unity Church. And I know that Civic Association is quite active, so I'm sure they've already been in contact with their board if there are issues in the neighborhood. On Monday, February the 16th, the Randolph community will be having a special meeting to discuss its spring cleanup, and that spring cleanup is scheduled for April the 18th. And the discussion on February the 16th will be to develop a plan and strategy on how we want to deploy resources that day. We'll be partnering, again, with Hands on Greater Richmond as well as VCU's Paint the Town Green. The meeting on February the 16th at the Community Center in Randolph will begin at 7 p.m. Then we have a meeting, a very important meeting for the Maymont neighborhood and residents near Maymont. On February the 17th, Maymont will be releasing information about its master plan and development projects for areas on Hampton Street as well as on the lake side and Bird Park side of Maymont. That meeting will be February the 17th at 6:30 p.m. at the Nature Center, and we're inviting mostly the residents nearby from the Maymont neighborhood, Bird Park neighborhood, William Byrd Terrace Association, as well as the Carillon Civic Association, February the 17th, 6:30 p.m. at the Nature Center at Maymont. Then we also will be having a conversation with the city planning staff on changes that they recommend for the uptown corridor between Harrison and Meadow Streets. This is West Main, West Carey Street, which is a mixed-use district, and they have some proposals about changing the urban business zoning as well as the parking overlay district and impacts that would have on parking in the area of West Main, West Carey Street. That meeting with planning staff will be held on February the 26th at Benford Middle School from 5 until 7 p.m. And again, we had a discussion at the Uptown Association last week, preliminarily discussing this, and it went well, so this will be another opportunity for public comment. Then the last announcement is just simply to thank our partners with Rebuilding Together, who have selected 40 homes in the Swansboro neighborhood for its April 25th Rebuilding Day. And we will see a lot of improvements to the homes of these seniors that have qualified. And I want to thank the community and the church leaders and the Civic Association and everybody who really helped get the word out for this program. We're looking forward to Rebuild Day on April the 25th and welcoming Rebuilding Together back into the Swansboro neighborhood and looking forward to future years of that partnership. So again, thank you. And if you're a member of a corporation or another organization that looks to do sponsorships, the Rebuilding Together is always looking for sponsors to support their homes, and the projects can range from just a couple $1,000s to a couple tens of thousands of dollars. So please, if you have those means and you're willing, please contact me or Rebuilding Together, and my contact information is 804-646-6050. Or you can email me at parker.agelasto@richmondgov.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Agelesto. Well, I was going to go alphabetically, but Mr. Balaus has left the building. There he is. Mr. Balaus, you have announcement? Ms. Graziano, he doesn't have any.
Thank you, Madam President. Just two announcements. My canceled district meeting is going to be held February 24th at 7 o'clock at Huguenot High School. It'll be a tour of the new high school. We'll have Kristen Larson will be there, the school board rep. Dr. Dana Bedden will be there. And it's open to not just 4th District residents, but anyone who would like to come and see the new school. And I know I have been approached by some alumni that would be interested in that, so please make note of the date. It's February 24th at 7. And also, Finance Committee meets on the 19th here in Chambers at 3 o'clock. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Graziano. Ms. Newbill.
Thank you, Madam President. It is my absolute pleasure this evening to recognize, thank, and celebrate the Chimborazo Elementary School administrators, teachers, staff, parents, children, community partners, and supporters who've worked diligently over the last 3 years or more to ensure that the curriculum that's offered there is state-of-the-art, and it is now the city's first international baccalaureate elementary school. And so I simply want to thank all of them for their hard work and look forward to working to ensure that the remainder of our elementary schools and other schools throughout our city have the types of curriculum that are state-of-the-art and really does and do prepare our youngsters to be successful in this highly global, highly technological society. So congratulations to Chimborazo Elementary School. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Newbill. Mr. Robertson. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. We're having a meeting in the Bellmead Civic Association is having their meeting on February the 19th at 6 o'clock at 1800 Lynn Haven Avenue. There have been lots of issues in the community in regards to code enforcement, and so representatives from the city administration will be joining them, and so we want to make sure that those residents that have challenges with properties within their communities that we need to be aware of, that have code violations, but for us to also explain to the residents what that process is and what services are available to assist in helping people that may need support with addressing the code violations, but also working more closely with the rental properties and the landlords of rental properties as far as addressing codes. So that is on February the 19th at 6 o'clock, the Bellmead Civic Association at the Bellmead Community Center located at 1800 Lynn Haven Avenue. There's also, the city has been very active in parts of Northside, Richmond, and Holland Park, community area, and the surrounding area in looking at some code enforcement there, especially of vacant properties, but also properties that owner-occupied. And we have several seniors that have received code violations and citations. And so we are having a special meeting on February the 24th at the Ann Hardy Plaza Center at 3301 First Avenue to address their concerns and to equally inform them of what the process is as it relates to the citation, what their responsibilities are if they have received a citation, and also how we can work more with the city as it relates to helping those residents to address their code violations. There will be persons from the planning department. In addition to that, one of the greater concerns that they have in the community where citations have been issued is that we're seeing a lot of pop-up signs from folk offering to buy people home homes, and there is a great concern as it relates to who these people may be. So Housing Opportunities Made Equal will be there also to talk about predatory lending and also how homeowners are to deal with these calls that they receive from folk that want to buy the houses from them. It may already be in our minutes, Madam President, but we're also having a joint meeting with the school board on February the 23rd. City Council and school board are meeting to discuss budgets and the need for facilities improvements in the Richmond Public Schools, and that meeting will be a public meeting on February the 23rd and will be held here in the chamber. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Trammell. We had a meeting a couple of weeks ago in regards to policing in our communities and the issues around our relationships and building relationships with the police department. And the young gentleman that came down earlier had sent me a letter. I received that on Friday, so we're doing a follow-up with him. It was from what he has conveyed to us, it was a mistake of address. However, we did have a very productive meeting. We had a lot of people there from all age groups and different sectors of the city, and had a very meaningful conversation with the police. And one of the requests that came out of that was that citizens in general really don't know what their rights are when police confront them, when police show up at their door or pull them. So we're working with the police department to see what we can do to actually create a manual of sort that give people general information as to what their rights are and how they are to respond to what the police officers ask and order them to do. So I know that there's a big meeting that is also scheduled for this week, the 10th, which is tomorrow, at the police precinct on Chamberlain, in which there will be further discussion about this. And so we want to encourage all of the residents and others to come out to this meeting, because I think a lot of it is a learning process in really understanding what everybody's duties and responsibilities are with that. And with that, Madam President, those are my announcements. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Samuels?
I wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day. That's all.
Thank you. Ms. Trammell?
Thank you, Madam President. We had our public safety meeting last Tuesday. Trying to find my minutes again. And Major Scott Booth was there, and he was talking to us about the body cameras that they're looking into with the Richmond Police Department on purchasing these body cameras. We still got to find out exactly what the cost is going to be, and also there's some concerns about the body cameras. You know, how would they work? How did they work? And are they really worth the money right now when we know that our schools are in need of money, our police officers are in need of pay raises, and also our firefighters and school teachers and also our city employees, they're looking for a pay raise. So there's some of the things that we've got to look at. Also, Major Collier had spoke, and he said that our police officers do not do what is called a chokehold on citizens. And also, Jeannie, she had brought up about how do we get notified when it's bad weather. And I know that there was, I don't think that was fully explained how we, or maybe they're looking at different ways of notifying, like our chief of staff like Lou Ali and the city clerk and maybe some other department heads, because maybe not everybody is getting the same message at the same time. So we thought maybe they could send out an email to all the department heads or supervisors to let them know. I think that's what the Richmond Public Schools do. I believe that's not right, Jeannie?
Yes, they actually have a voicemail automated system. And so I think at the next public safety meeting, Mr. James Jackson was going to come back with Anthony McLean to provide an update on potentially having some sort of system like that to notify staff members.
Okay. So we can all be on the same page. Thank you, Jeannie. Also, let me see. We talked about the towing, and I think that we need more information on that, because there was an incident that happened in my district off of Jefferson Davis where the property is not, it's private property, and it's not posted properly with the signage that says that you're not allowed to park on that property, and the vehicle got towed, and I think his bill was like $800 when he ended up getting his vehicle back. And it was not towed by, it was towed by, I believe, an independent towing company. So we need to look at that, make sure that everybody's on the same page, and I know that the police said that they would get with the towing board and then get back with us. Also, this right here, a lot of people are asking me about this. This is an application for seniors. If you're 65 years old, you fill out this application, you can be tax exempt on your real estate, or you could be maybe not totally tax exempt, but every little bit helps. And also, if you're totally disabled, this thing applies to you too. It's an application you can go get at any, if you live in my district, you can go to the social service building, that's on South Side, or you can go to the library and pick up this form, or you can call my home at 233-7382. Again, that's my home number, 233-7382, and we will make sure that you get these applications, get these forms, because these days every little bit helps the seniors. Oh, and our next public safety meeting is going to be, let me see, it's going to be February the 24th, and it's right here at 5 p.m. in this council chambers. Hope you'll be able to attend. And let me see. Also, tomorrow night, Rosa Jones, she's having her Oak Grove Civic Association. That is tomorrow night. And she would love to have some of the citizens have been calling her from the Blackwell area about some issues that they're having. Even though she is the president of Oak Grove, she said everyone is welcome to come to her meeting. And her meeting is at 7 p.m. tomorrow at 900 Jefferson Davis, and it's called Kids First Daycare. Again, that is tomorrow night, February the 10th at 7 p.m. at the Kids First Daycare. And that is the Oak Grove Civic Association. We do not have another meeting until April the 16th, and that's on a Thursday, April the 16th at the Satellite, 4000 block of Jefferson Davis. And we got some great speakers lined up. I believe John Blouse is going to be attending our next meeting that Thursday at 6 p.m. at the Satellite. Also, I know a lot of people have been calling me in reference to why we keep continuing the papers on Chapel Drive and on McGuire. It is not the administration's fault, so we want to get that straight. It is not their fault. They've been working really, really hard with us. We've just been trying to get a date and find out what we want to do. We know we can't put the speed bumps down. You can't have, like, what do they call those those, like, things in the road? Looking, what do they call, Kathy? No, there's it's like a strip or something. That's what we're looking at, because we can't have a stop sign at every intersection either. And that is on McGuire and Chapel. So we have finally got a date, and that's going to be, let's see, it's going to be on a Thursday, February the 17th at 6:30. And it's going to be, I believe it's going to be at 2nd Precinct. And that's going to be the McGuire Civic Association, the McGuire and because we definitely want to have the whole area, even on Broad Rock. If you do not belong to the McGuire-Swansboro Civic Association, you are still asked to come to that meeting. Again, that's going to be on February the 17th at 6:30 p.m. If you have any questions, you can call my home again at 233-7382. This right here is your smoke alarm. It is the only thing that's free in the city right now. And get it while it lasts, because we don't know how much longer it's going to be free. The number is 646-1526, 646-1526. The firefighters will come to your home, to your apartment, to your church, to your business, and they will install this for free. It doesn't cost you anything. And if the battery is beeping, that means this thing is getting ready to go bad. And so you need to call them or go by the nearest fire station so they can come to your house and they can put the battery in your smoke alarm for free. And Barack Obama, our President of the United States of America, says everybody should have a working free smoke alarm in their home. So please, please take advantage of this. Call them 646-1526 or go to the nearest fire station and set up an appointment so those firefighters can come to your home. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Trammell. Ms. Newbill, you had something?
Yes, one last opportunity I wanted to share for EastEnders. Would like to invite them to come out and participate in a cleanup at North 37 and Crestview on Saturday, February 21st at 9 a.m. It's an opportunity to deal with a challenge that many of us face in terms of illegal dumping and other kinds of inappropriate disposal. So again, we are joining forces coming out to clean up on Saturday, the 21st, 37th, and Crestview. For any additional information, they can dial 677-7340 and ask for Mr. James Minor. That will be persons from the impact team as well as city, other city departments and citizens. So again, we invite you to come up and help clean up our city. Thank you, and our district specifically in this case.
Thank you, Dr. Newbill. Vice President Hilbert?
Thank you, Madam President. Wanted to remind everyone that the deadline is approaching for tax relief for the elderly and disabled. Those applications are available online, or if you need an application, please call my office at 646-6055, and we'll mail you a copy of the application. The basic guidelines are that if you are 65 or older or disabled, own and live in your dwelling, earn less than $50,000 annually, and have less than $200,000 in assets, excluding the equity in your home, then you will be eligible for this program. Council designates dollars for this program, and when it's all expended, then there won't be any left. So we certainly hope that everyone that is eligible for this program will take advantage of it. The next district meeting for the 3rd District will be held Wednesday, February the 25th at Partnership for Families Northside, located at 800 West Graham Road. The new police chief, Alfred Durham, will be joining us. We'll also have a presentation from the Virginia Union University Small Business Development Center on their mission to assist small businesses to get a strong start in our area. And finally, we'll have a presentation from DPW regarding new recycling bins in the program, and to get more information about when your bin will be delivered. If you'd like to be added to the district email list, please send your email address to lisa.towns@richmondgov.com. That's Towns, Townes, or call her at 646-6055. If you are trying to contact me via email, please be certain that you are using my City of Richmond email, which is chris.hilbert@richmondgov.com, and not using my website's email. It's that is not necessarily used for city business, and I don't check that email very often. So please send these to chris.hilbert@richmondgov.com. And along with Mr. Samuels, I'd like to wish everyone a happy St. Valentine's Day. Thank you.
Thank you. It's time for the 9th District announcements. The February Midlothian Team meeting chaired by Alma Moore will hold its monthly meeting tomorrow, February 10th, and that will start at 6 p.m. The February CTE meeting is scheduled for February 12th, and that's at 3 p.m. And Please be reminded that the next regular scheduled 9th District meeting will be February 19th at the Goodwill on Midlothian Turnpike, 6301. We will have Dr. Thaddeus Williamson, the Director of the Mayor's Office of Community Wealth Building, to talk about the Anti-Poverty Initiative. Mark Olinger, the Director of Richmond Department of Planning and Development Review, to talk about our Midlothian Corridor. And also our school board representative, Ms. Teachie Pinckney Epps, to talk about Elkhart School and any other school-related issues. Let us all be mindful of African American history. We in Virginia, in Richmond in particular, have a rich history. Let us all take the time to both appreciate it and learn from it so that we can truly move forward. Malcolm X once stated, "History is a weapon." With that said, let us handle history, with extreme care and the reverence due to it. As always, I'm concerned about you, the 9th District. Please continue to contact me with any ideas, thoughts, or concerns via email, michelle.mosby@richmondgov.com, or my personal website, michellemosby.org. I'm also on both Facebook and Twitter, and I can also be reached at 804-646-2779 or 804-912-6465. I think that takes up all of the announcements for tonight. Madam Clerk, please read the introduction papers for this evening.
Madam President, the introduction papers for this evening are as follows. Ordinance number 2015-32, and that's to authorize the CAO to execute an agreement between the city and U.S.P. Echo Harbor, LLC for facilitating the relocation of existing city wastewater utility facilities and providing for a public right-of-way easement to be used as a segment of the Virginia Capitol Trail. Land Use, Housing, and Transportation Standing Committee, February 17th at 3 p.m. Council public hearing date, February 23rd. Ordinance number 2015-33, and that's to rename 900 East Broad Street, known as City Hall, as L. Douglas Wilder City Hall. Land Use, Housing, Transportation Standing Committee, February 17th at 3 p.m. Council public hearing date, February 23rd. Ordinance number 2015-34, and that's to direct the sale of 3101 Wharf Street to the Economic Development Authority. Planning Commission, Tuesday, February 17th at 1:30 p.m. Council public hearing date, February 23rd. Ordinance number 2015-35 to amend City Code, Section 2-23021 concerning the city auditor, and Section 2-543 concerning the duties of the Department of Information Technology for prescribing that the main internet web page of each department include a link to reports and information concerning the status of implementations of audit recommendations. Government Operations Standing Committee, February 26th at 5 p.m. Council public hearing date, March 9th. Resolution number 2015 R12 to approve $161.46 from the Council District Fund to pay for the mailing of postcards to the 1st District residents. Council public hearing date, February 23rd. Resolution number 2015 R13 to approve $2,000 from the Council District Fund for the 7th District to make a donation to Girls for a Change 2015 Date with Dad's Dinner and Dance. Council public hearing date, February 23rd. Resolution number 2015 R14 to request that the mayor identify within the FY 2015 general fund budget funding for the city economist position for the remainder of the fiscal year, and to recommend the transfer to the office of the council chief of staff for establishing such position, and to request further that the proposed FY 2016 general fund budget, that such position be fully funded in the council chief of staff's budget. Government Operations Standing Committee, February 26th at 5 p.m. Council public hearing date, March 9th. Madam President, that concludes the reading of the new legislation for this evening.
All right, Madam Clerk, if there being no further business before the council, this meeting is adjourned.
And a little over an hour, and that's about 7:45 right now. So hour and 40 minutes roughly from the time we got started. I started at 6:05 tonight. I called order appointments and reappointments. There was one award, and then we got to the presentation of a sign. You probably heard about this in the last meeting. They are renaming the Manchester Courthouse, being named in honor of Henry and Harold Marsh. and they wanted to know what the sign looked like. Well, tonight they showed a slide of what a proposed sign would look like. And that's about 5 minutes. Then we got to the citizens' comment period, followed by agenda review, then the consent agenda. That went about 20 minutes or so. Got the papers to be amended. There was one paper that was being amended but not continued, being amended and voted on tonight. And that's the one that's talking about the ballpark. And all this does is ask the mayor to try and see if he can get support from the surrounding counties of Chesterfield, Henrico, and Hanover in building a new ballpark. It also has been amended so that it does not say in the city of Richmond. It says in the Richmond region, which would include the city and Henrico and Hanover and Chesterfield. And that did pass by a 9-0 vote. Then we got the approval of minutes, reports from council, introduction of papers, and that's it for the night. We are done until 2 weeks from now, which will be the 23rd of February. So we'll look forward to seeing you then. Happy Valentine's Day in the meantime, especially to my favorite Valentine. And we'll look forward to seeing you again 2 weeks from tonight. So for Gabble to Gabble, I'm Dick Harmon saying good night.